Yeah, I'm recording now as it's occurring to me in the now, and I'm also working through past recordings. So the two persons, the now of me and the me of, in this case, a present, 2 years ago, January 2021, are being blended together, and it brings two strains of thought constantly together. What's preoccupying me now in the living in 2023? What is it? December? No, November, late November. And what I was thinking in the recordings that I've got up to, that I'm reviewing and bringing into being published, because those recordings, I'm on 900 and something number. They were recorded but not published, and I'm making sure they get published. But I'm publishing them in the context of me now, a couple of years later. And I come as a sort of some progression of what I was then when I made the original recording. Just to explain the circumstances in that way, you know. I'm hoping, and I'm finding they stimulate me to review and say things, and in a sense they bring me good company from what I have been thinking. And I'm always amazed, you know, how what I think of, would have thought of as being my current insights, I had then in the past. They were there. And when I read even my very early writings of several decades ago, The Godly Life I wrote, I don't know, certainly a whole book full, I mean, several hundred pages of A4 typing, a sheet for each thought, each time I started writing. And I'm amazed how the thoughts I had then, and you would have thought in a different world, different country, different context, different decade. But some of the thoughts are so what I have now, and I wouldn't have realized that I had them then. In a slightly different way, but sometimes very similar indeed. Virtually the same. And yet, there's a newness about the thoughts I have now. And it's interesting to see how, but you had many of these thoughts then, Marshall. Cool. Thank you, Dad. I'm not sure what to make of it. I just wanted to tell you that that's what's going on. And I'm sure you'd be the same. If only you'd written down what was important to you spiritually then. And if you're not in the habit of it, I do so commend it to you. It'll be an amazing blessing to you. It's like writing down when you have a miracle. Write it down. You'd be astonished. The most amazing miracle. You can forget the details and it slips into oblivion. Anchor it in writing. Give a trace of it, enough to bring it to your remembrance. And the thoughts you had and the circumstances. And it will be your dear friend in the future. And, of course, potentially a blessing to others who come across this account. Do you see? Yes, he does a greater work in you, for you, than through you. But he does bless through you as well. Isn't that lovely? Your spiritual life, your journey, is our blessing if you share it. And if you don't, we're the poorer. And you are the poorer too, out of sheer self-interest. Please write a history of your spiritual life as it unfolds, when you have the fullness of its vividness and can write about it. And don't hesitate like I did at the beginning of these two recordings, this one and the one just before it. Oh, no, was it just this one now? And halfway through this one, I hesitated on this second point. Go straight in. Don't worry about mistakes. You can correct the mistakes. The point is you'll be in the flow. And you'll have something to build on. You must throw words at it. They're wrong. You know, I might even be saying, and pause, and I was going to say so-and-so, and it's because of such and such, and you think this is just verbal rubbish. But it's not. It gets you into the unraveling, the unfolding, the revelation of what's happening to you spiritually comes forth. It's like when I speak in tongues. I mean, I'm still Pentecostal. And if I'm in a difficult situation or somewhere where I'm really moved, I go into tongues. Inwardly, I don't necessarily express it outwardly. And I go, Kia Kia Shalamataya Tia Kahatura Kushenanata. And, you know, I just launch. I'm the same when I'm worshipping. If it's a worship situation, and I go to few these days, very few indeed, I go in, I see the words on the board that they're singing, I put my hands up in the air, my arms up, I'm standing, I'm worshipping, I'm flat out. And God, in the form of the Holy Spirit, comes to the party within a few seconds, within a few moments of time. Because I'm saying come, in effect. I'm launched. If you don't catch me, God, well, I'm just going to fall, aren't I? I'm standing and I'm worshipping. The only thing I'm lacking is your spirit. Give it to me, Lord. I'm doing everything that's I can do, which is not much compared to what you're going to give me. But it's just a way of asking. It's a way of saying, you're what counts, Father. I love you. I don't care what these people are thinking. This is a worship situation. And I have the right and the opportunity to worship, and I'm not missing it. I'm going to worship. Are you going to be there, God? And of course he says, of course. Have I ever let you down? No way. I am always with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you, saith the Lord. Thank you, Dad. Oh, and I must add a third point, that when you get the Spirit moving, you must act accordingly. If you suddenly have a thought that comes and you think, this is valuable, this could be a blessing, I'll write it down, you must do it now. You know, record it now. I stop my exercise routine partway even through an exercise. And I pick up the phone and I put it down. I record it because it can go from the mind as easy as water slips through the fingers. And I've told you this before, and I've told you, arrogance, sorry about that. I've said this before, haven't I? The importance of writing it down or recording it, tracing it immediately. Now is the moment you have. You don't know for sure you will remember it in a moment's time. Get there, and when you pick up the phone to record or you pick up the pen, you start writing, I was thinking such and such. Or you don't even introduce it like that. You just say, remember so-and-so. And you're in. And then you qualify what you mean by what you're trying to say and why you're saying it and how it will bless. And the Spirit will just flow through you. It just does, like any conversation. You know, you meet someone and you say, oh, how are you today? And they don't hear this. They say, oh, good, 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 you know. And you say, are you still doing so-and-so? And that launches it. Oh, no, well, what happened was so-and-so. Oh, really? Why was that? And the two of you, you're in conversation. It flows. The Spirit's there. But you have to initiate it. If you don't initiate it, you get nothing. You can sit there like a cardboard shape in church in a worship service with your arms folded. You're a closed mind. You're waiting for the Spirit to move you. And you'll be waiting when the service is finished too. And they've all gone home. And you've gone home. And you're still waiting. That's not the way to go. I go into the room. I'm singing a chorus before I go through the door. You know, if it's a church situation, I know it's a Penti-free worship. And I can do this, and I walk down the corridor. I'm going to sit in the front. I want to be where the Spirit and the action is. I don't want to be hiding at the back. I want to be right in the Spirit, in amongst it, where it's happening. If there's a seat down the front, it's for me. Arrogance, that was for the minister. What's he doing sitting there? You know, I mean, I've made those mistakes. It's best not to take the minister's seat. Or one of the elders that always sits in that seat. Oh my goodness, you'd be surprised how important that is to them. And of course it should be, but it's important for the wrong reasons sometimes. Self-importance. Yes. But you know, I go down there and I've got my arms in the air before I've even sat down. I don't bother to sit down. I've thrown my coat down. I don't even, and I worship the way I am. And I'm in. And I'm singing away full on. And if it's tongues, I'm in tongues. And it's all I can do is to shut up when the pastor wants to take over the room and manage it the way he wants to manage it. Because of course in my heart I know he's wrong, don't I? The Spirit's running, the congregation's worshipping. Whatever you do, don't stop it now. Let it flow, contribute to it, but don't stop it and steer it. Oh no, it's being led by the Spirit. Let it run. And of course, now and again, it runs into chaos. There's this old lady who's freaking out there, and you think, ooh, I wonder how this is going. And then, of course, there is a bit of steering going on by all concerned, but not unkindly, but seeing why God is allowing this performance. There's a desire to see God in it. This is unusual behavior, but it can be glorifying to God in some way, can't it? Let's look at this. Let's not just dismiss it. And perhaps it's important to them, and they have a need, and perhaps the whole congregation now is praying for this person. I mean, this person may be well away thinking that they're leading the congregation in some spiritual thing, but the congregation's actually praying for them. But either way, all present, ideally, are involved in this trust and faith that good is being done. Because we love God and we want God to be present with all our heart. And ideally, each person there is focused on wanting God to be present and believing in their hearts in His provision. And so it goes on. Let me stop. I got carried away now, haven't I? The point I was supposed to be making, the third point that I've stopped for, when the thought comes to you that you think will be a blessing to you or to others in the future, record it now. Instantly, if you possibly can, put down enough to remind you. Do it now, or you can lose lose it so easily. What a shame. Don't let that happen. Bless you. Thank you, Dad.